In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a big, massive orchestral mix very quickly within the Orchestral Percussion expansion library. We're going to start in the Orchestral Percussion 1 portion of this library. I have the default mix loaded. That's the one we're going to work with. And we're going to go into the mixer. I'm going to scroll all the way to the right, and we're going to work with this outrig channel. We're not going to mess with any other settings, and all we're going to do is add 3 effects to simulate and enhance the already great sounding Galaxy Studio room that these drums were recorded in. First, we're going to add some compression. You could use a number of different compressors here, but for this example, I'm going to use this multi-band compressor. And I'm going to use a preset here that's actually not intended for a room mic. It's more intended for the drum bus, so all the channels summing into one bus, but it works well in this example. So if we solo the outrig, I'm going to bring the mix all the way up, and I actually want to boost the gain as well. We'll bump it up to about 5 dB. Now, I already like what that's doing to the mix. Let's take a listen. And that's all we'll do with the compressor. I want to add some saturation. We're going to add this tape simulator here. Now this will boost the level a bit again. We're going to use default settings, and we'll circle back to this effect here in just a bit. And I'm going to turn the bias all the way down. We get a little bit of saturation and some tape compression depending on the drive and bias settings. By turning down the bias, it doesn't sound as compressed, but we're still getting some of that tape saturation and drive. And we're going to use the speed a bit later to manage the high end of this channel. So you can hear what that does. We have some tape distortion happening. Now it sounds like a lot, but in the context of the mix, it's going to work just fine. Next, we will add some reverb. Again, a lot of different varieties, but we're going to use the hall reverb. You can hear the default settings. I already have some nice reverb, but I'm going to make some adjustments. I want to turn up the decay, and we're going to increase the size a fair amount too. And the shape you can adjust to taste. It's just going to alter the sound of that decay. Now I can already hear there's a lot of high frequencies. We'll actually turn it all the way down. And then diffusion is an adjustment to taste too. It just changes the sound of the reverb in the room. We'll go with that setting. I'm going to boost the dry wet mix. And we will run with that. Now let's hear how this sounds with the mix. Now, we're exaggerating here, but I really like that long tail, the 2.5 second reverb time that we have going on here. What we can do from here is actually boost this outrig channel really as much as we want. So we're boosting the room mic, but we're boosting that enhanced, compressed, saturated reverb effect as well. Really a big, massive sound just from those 3 effects. Now, if we don't want as much of that distortion, we can bring the drive down. Really depends what you're going for. Now, bringing the drive down will adjust the output level, so you could compensate there too. Really like that decay once again. Now let's A/B this with these changes. Again, we left the mains where they were, increased the outrig a little bit, but then we have these effects. So let me turn them off. And with the effects back on. If it's too much, you can come in and make adjustments anywhere you want. For example, the reverb time, you can adjust that to be shorter, or a quick change would be to adjust the size. We could bring the size down without adjusting the reverb time. That will adjust the perceived sound of the reverb itself. Again, we're going for an exaggerated big sound here, so we'll leave it at the higher setting. A couple other things we can do. Because we're processing this room outrig mic so much, if we wanted to, we could bring in another room mic. We'll just take this front, left, right, and I'll bring the level down just a little bit, but we're basically just supplementing this processed room channel with another unprocessed room mic. That's a great sounding room mic as well. So unmuted. It just adds to the depth of this sound. Let's bring that back up once again, kind of match the levels here. I think that's a nice compliment. And what we can also do is if we want a little bit more of the attack to come out, of course we could bring down the volume of these room mics, which is nice. We still have that big decay, it's just not as much. We could also turn up this mains as well. So that brings out a little bit more of the attack of the drums, and we could increase our room mic again. By doing this, we're increasing the overall volume, so you want to keep that in mind. Between those three channels, mains, outrig, and if you added another one, front, left, and right, and the effects, the multiband compressor, the tape simulator, and the hall reverb, we were able to quickly create this massive sounding effect. Now, we talked about how if we wanted to, we could use the tape simulator to adjust the EQ. So if I want more or less high end within this outrig, we'll call this effects reverb channel, I can make a quick adjustment to that with the speed of the tape simulator. Now let's increase the drive, reset the speed, and we'll reset this output level 2. Now we'll get more of that distorted sound once again. But we can still go in and adjust the high end. Really hear that when we push that drive. Again, the distortion may not be desirable for every mix, but it really is a nice effect. And by the way, all of this sounds great on the taikos as well. And for another variation, we could take this same channel strip, this multiband tape simulator and hall reverb that can be saved as a preset that you can load to any channel later on. We can move that to any room mic. Here I've swapped, actually just disabled what we did on the outrig and brought those same effects in to the front, left, right. And to me, that's an even roomier sound because the front, left, right is even more of a room sound than the outrig. We can mute the outrig as another option. So that's just a few ways to quickly get a big, massive orchestral mix within Superior Drummer 3 using the Orchestral Percussion expansion library.